Hi, it's Michelle. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Michelle. I make videos about books. Please hit the subscribe button. It really helps my channel grow. Today is my worst books of 2022 list. I will say that there are only 25 books on this list. I read 290 books this year, so that is a little over 8% of the books that I read this year were 1 or 2 stars. Normally I would only do 1 stars, but I think I only had 3 books that were 1 stars, so I am also including 2 stars. This is the lowest amount of books ever that I have had 1 or 2 stars ever in my reading journey, and I feel like that is because I am really picking up books that I think I would like and not just because of the hype, and I am also moving away from YA, and a lot of these are YA. So before we get started, if any of these books on this list are your favorites, I am not coming for you. They just did not work for me, and that is how reading works. So I don't have any of these books anymore, so it'll be here or here, whichever one works better in editing, and I will let you know a little bit about it if I remember, but I will definitely let you know why I didn't like it. So also, I don't have a lot of these authors, and I am so sorry. I will do better next time. But the first one is The Ballerinas. This was the second book that I read this year, and all I remember about this is that it was compared to Gossip Girl and Pretty Little Liars, but it was adult, and I didn't get those vibes at all. All I thought about it was that it was so boring. But this follows these 3 ballerinas from when they are children up until they are adults, and I thought it was going to be super drama filled and really exciting, and in my case all I got was boring drama and pettiness. So I did not like this one. This was my second book, like I said, and it really luckily it didn't sour the whole year, but I was like very terrified after I read it so early on. The next one is You'll Be the Death of Me by Karen M. McManus. Karen M. McManus's standalones don't work for me at all. Like, One of Us is Lying and One of Us is Next are the only books that I have liked by Karen M. McManus, but her standalones, they are not good, y'all. I buddy read this one with my friend Jordan, and we were both like, what? So all I remember about this one is someone dies or something. I have blocked it out because it was just that bad. So I don't think I'll be picking up any more Karen M. McManus unless she somehow switches to adult and like does better. So yeah. The next one is I Kissed Shara Wheeler. I don't think I like this, first of all, because it was YA, and this was towards the time when I was really starting to see myself not liking YA anymore. Also, I just didn't really like this because I liked the mystery part of this, and then that abruptly ended around 60% in, and after that, I like tapped out of this story. I just did not care what was happening. But basically, Shara Wheeler goes missing, but before she goes missing, she kisses 3 people, and those 3 people are trying to find her. It's a lot like Paper Towns. Is that the book? Yeah, I think so. Paper Towns by John Green. But overall, this was a complete miss for me, and this is when I started noticing that YA wasn't working for me anymore, and this is around the time that I changed my channel name. So just throwing that out there. Maybe it wasn't that bad, but I just was over YA. Who knows? The next one is Ice Planet Barbarians. I read the Kindle Unlimited version. I don't even know if it's still on Kindle Unlimited at this point because it's so popular, but in the Kindle Unlimited version, there is like a rape scene in the very first chapter, and then when we are first introduced to the aliens, the main character is passed out. She is unconscious, and she wakes up to the alien sexually assaulting her, and that did not work for me. I am big on consent, so if that worked for you, I am no judgment from me. It just absolutely did not work for me, and I did not like this story, so sorry. The next one was my in-person book club pick, and that is It All Comes Back to You. This was the worst book we had all read collectively. We do a survey at the end of the year and we all collectively decided that this was the worst book. If I could remember what it was about, I would tell you, but I have blocked it out of my memory so hard that I absolutely don't remember anything about this except that I was really, really liking it in the beginning and didn't understand why people in my book club weren't liking it. And then about 50 or 60% in, awful. It was not a good book, and I wish I could tell you why, but I have blocked it out of my brain so much that I can't remember. The next book is The Roughest Draft. I read this as an ARC, and I was very confused when I was the only one who put a 2-star review of it, and everyone else was giving it 5 stars. But this follows an author duo, a man and a woman, who haven't spoken in several years, and as the story progresses, you find out why, but basically they have to come together and write another book that's under their contract. And I just thought that this was so boring. I think my Goodreads review, if I can find it, I'll put it here or whatever side, and it just says, wow, that was boring or something like that. So yeah. The next book is another YA book, and this was for the Alphabet Project, and this is called Every Moment After. This involves like 2 students several years after a elementary school shooting. They are survivors, and I thought that this was going to be really emotional and deep, and unfortunately nothing happens in this book. And I found out later that the author is like a child psychiatrist, and I guess that he thought that he could write a book about deep things, but unfortunately nothing happens in the book, and I'm not even kidding. There's like no resolution. They just like, you just go through these kids' lives, and not that that's a bad thing, but like, give me something. The next book is Wild Beauty. I read this for a project with Lexi, and anything that is part of any video will be shown up above, but this was with Lexi, and it was the purple prose for me that didn't work. This worked for her. This was one of the books that she liked, and I was trying to decide if she liked it or not, and I think I said that she didn't, just because like I did not understand this book, and that was a me problem. But I absolutely can't even tell you one thing about this book because I didn't understand it, and that's okay. The next book is Artemis. I buddy read this with Monica and Lexi. I think Lexi didn't even pick it up because me and Monica were telling her how absolutely horrid it was. And that is nuts because Andy Weir's other book is on my best book of the year video. Like, it will be there. So how he can go from The Martian and Project Hail Mary and in the middle have Artemis, I'll absolutely never understand. But basically they like live in space and it's a heist. But did I understand that? I surely did not. The next book on this list is going to get me canceled, and that's fine, but that's Book Lovers. I did not like Book Lovers because I did not sign up to read a book about sisters. I will not go into explanation about that because that is a personal thing with me that is going on, but I personally don't want to read a romance and then actually have to read 300 pages about a sister relationship, and that makes me salty. So if you like this, I'm really glad, but for me, I felt like it was mismarketed, and it is not a romance. It is a book about sisters with a side plot of romance, and that's why I didn't like it. It is a very personal thing, but I still think that it is mismarketed, so yeah. The next one is Stolen Tongues. This should have been a novella, but basically this follows a dude who they have like a cabin in the woods and weird shit starts happening, and it was scary in the beginning. It was really scary. I read this for Summerween and I did think it was scary, and then it was absolutely too long. And then the most like racist thing that could have happened, like that was a resolution, happened. And in the author's note, he literally says, I didn't want this to be racist, and then he made it racist. So that's why I got 2 stars. Should have probably gotten 1 star. It was just not good. The next book on this list is Royal Holiday. This did not work for me. I love Jasmine Guillory's other books, but this follows an older couple, and they were just like so boring. It's not that I have a thing against older people. It is the fact that it was boring. Like, this was a boring book. I did not like this book. It was dumb. No, it did not work for me. I'm sorry. It could have been the writing. It could have been the story. It could have been that they were in London. It could have been that it was like love at first sight. It could have been all of those things, but mostly it was because it was boring. The next one is Watchers by Dean Koontz. I read this for the Stranger Things project, and I just don't care about dogs. So I'm a cat person, and this has to do with like a genius dog. And my ex-coworker, I don't work anymore, but when I worked, my coworker said that this reminded her so much of Stranger Things, and she is surprised that Dean Koontz hasn't sued. So I was like, I need to read this immediately. If it is like plot by plot Stranger Things, oh my god, I love Stranger Things. Incorrect. She's completely wrong. I'm sorry. It is not like Stranger Things at all. It is Stranger Things extra light. Okay. I'm gonna save my 1 stars for last, but we're almost there. The next one is They Drown Our Daughters. I read this for a project with Brie, and I will put that up above, but basically she picked this out for me because of the cover, and this is a gorgeous cover, as you can see. But this was literary fiction with like horror light, and that is not a bad thing. I really like literary fiction and I really like horror, but like it is in the horror section. That is the section that we went to. So I know it's in horror. And it had me in the beginning. It was so good. I was so into it. Boring. So boring. So boring, and I'm so upset because I love this cover so much. So it just did not work for me. The next one is Only When It's Us. I did not like this for several reasons. The biggest reason is because it's slow burn, and I am not a slow burn girly. Also, there was a lack of miscommunication. Like, they obviously liked each other and they just would not get together, and they're adults, and my brain cannot comprehend. Like, I just don't get it. And also, the author had to rewrite this because there was a disability rep in it, and it was so poorly done the first time that the author had to rewrite it. And I don't think after she rewrote it, it was any better. So I did not like this one. The next one is The Last Thing He Told Me. This was for the alphabet project L. Once again, so boring. And Lexi and Neva were trying to tell me that it was so boring and not to read it, and I didn't listen to them, and I read it anyway. But yeah, this was not for me. It sounded so good. Like, this guy, he leaves a note for his wife and daughter, and he's like, I'm so sorry, like, I gotta bounce, basically. And you never hear from him again, and they're trying to like track him down, and then like the dumbest explanation of things comes about and no, it didn't work for me. The next one with 2 stars is Before I Let Go. Unfortunately, this didn't work for me because I don't think, and I don't know if this is true, but for this one at least, the second chance romance did not work. These two obviously still loved each other, but wouldn't work on their trauma together. Like, they had a stillborn, and it was on page, which was super traumatizing for me, and I did not know about it. And they just like would not talk to each other, which is just so frustrating. Like, I don't know. I wish it worked for me, but it didn't work for me. The next one is A Merry Little Meet Cute. I read this for Holiday Rom-Comathon. We pick not great books for Holiday Rom-Comathon. If you liked it, that's all that matters. I did not like it. Technically, I had 50 pages left of this, but it was enough for me to rate it 2 stars. But this follows a porn star who is getting into like this Hallmark-esque Christmas movie, and it just, I felt like what? Like, it was boring, like there was no chemistry, there was no like, nothing really worked for me. The audiobook was good, if that's helpful. The next one is Exodus. I read this with Sarah from Sarah's Shelves. I think she liked it. I'm pretty sure Sarah liked this one. I did not like this one. I did like Flock. Flock is good. Even if there's no plot in Flock, there is less plot in Exodus. Did not like it. Did not like. Didn't even read the third one. I think there might be a fourth novella. Absolutely not. I think I had Sarah read it. This is like when me and Sarah were starting to become friends. And Sarah read it and she left me like voice messages of what was happening. So thank you for your service, Sarah. I did not like Exodus. The next one is the flip side. The only thing I have to say for this one is, why are men? I thought that this was a romance. It is not. It is about this sad dude who gets dumped and also loses his job. So he decides to flip a coin for every decision for a whole year. And there's also this thing with like a meet cute, and like he goes all over Europe to find this girl he literally saw for 5 seconds. And all I have to say is, why are men? Awful. I was buddy reading this with Nat from Nerd and Nat Reads, and I told her, don't even waste your time. 2 stars. The next one is Ghost 19. This was a short story, and I don't understand the point of it. It was a money grab, which is fine. I don't care if you do things for money grabs because it worked, but it was like a audiobook exclusive, so you had to get it on audiobook. That's the only way you could listen to it. No plot. So dumb. Don't waste your time. I'm telling you right now, don't use any of your credits to get Ghost 19. And then the last 2-star book is Insomnia. I hated all of this. Especially the ending. But all of this in general just did not work for me. But this follows a woman, I can't even remember. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was gonna try to do it, but I can't really remember. All I remember is the ending being so bad. But I liked Behind Her Eyes a lot, so whatever. Insomnia did not work for me. I wish I could tell you what it was about, but I've blocked it from my mind. Okay, so those were all of my 2 stars. There were several, 22, I believe. So these are my 3 1-star books. That's it. I only had 3 1-star reads for the entire year, which is nuts. That's crazy. Okay, the first one is The Vacationers. I read this for reading my highest and lowest rated books that I own video. This was the lowest. This book follows a family who goes on vacation. That is it. That's the whole plot. It was pointless. I hated it. Don't read it. It has a low rating for a reason. Okay, the next one is Echo. We read this for the alphabet project. No, we read this for the Pyramid Book Club. I think I'm the only one who gave this 1 star. We don't usually agree, which is fine, but I absolutely hated this. I like cosmic horror. I don't like dumb cosmic horror. I did not like this. Basically, this guy, he goes and he hikes on a mountain and then he starts turning into a mountain. That's it. Okay, and the last book that I have that was 1 star that I read recently was The Cabin at the End of the World, and I think that this is my most hated book of the entire year, and I literally just read it. But I did not like this one personally because it was psychological horror, and I did not like it. The whole point, I can't tell you anything about it because literally the whole book is a spoiler, but you don't know what's going on and what is real. And it did not work for me. I felt like nothing was happening and people were like, wait until the ending. For me, personally, the ending wasn't worth it. I didn't think anything happened at the end. I feel so much better. That was me ranting about the 25 books that I did not like this year. So once again, this is not me coming at you. These are just books that I did not like. Please don't come at me for book lovers. I'm so sorry. I did not like it. But yeah, whew, I feel a lot better actually. It was a good rant. It was a good rant. But yeah, thanks for watching my video. See you in my next one. Bye.
Losing time, I'm fading fast.